It's just a short little video for me to cut. Alright, what is up, movie lovers? If you're new here, I'm Shay from the channel Zachary Shay, where I talk about mainly fantasy books, but also comics, manga, movies, video games, just examples of really good storytelling. I have a love for the fantasy sci-fi genres as well as superhero media and, all things manga and anime. And today I'm going to tell you why you should go see James Gunn's new Superman movie. There's been a lot of talk about it tries too much to be this, or the James Gunn humor isn't working, and I'm here to dispel all of that. And I'm not saying that those things aren't true for some people's perception of the movie. I'm not going to say, hey, what you saw in that movie was wrong, but this is what I got out of it. This movie is the first movie by DC Comics, featuring a DC character, live action film, that has truly hit the heart of DC Comics in a long, long time. There have been great movies I love, like Matt Reeves' The Batman, phenomenal film, and I loved The Penguin as well. But there's an it factor for Superman. There's this thing about this Superman movie. It does so many things so remarkably well. It's really able to translate the humanity of Clark Kent, of Superman. And, there's that famous line from Kill Bill where he's like, oh, Clark Kent that's the disguise. Superman is who he really is.
Superman didn't become Superman. Superman was born Superman. When Superman wakes up in the morning, he's Superman. His alter ego is Clark Kent.
And I disagree with that. I disagree with that completely. To me, Batman is Batman. Bruce Wayne is just a mask he wears. Batman's who he is. To me, Superman is who he has to be to give people hope, but Clark Kent is the truly virtuous man raised by Martha and Jonathan Kent and given the tools to become the man he needs to be. And in this movie, Clark Kent and Superman both shine immensely, but not just him. Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion killed it as Guy Gardner. But so the standout side characters for me were actually Mr. Terrific, who is an excellent character. I'm planning on making 2 more videos on Superman. I want to have a spoilery discussion, and I want to have a recommendation of, if you love this aspect of Superman, you should check out this comic. And I have a really good comic that I think people who enjoyed Mr. Terrific in this movie, they're going to really enjoy this comic recommendation, and I should be putting that out pretty shortly. But Mr. Terrific was amazing, and the Daily Planet characters were phenomenal. I thought Jimmy Olsen, man, he was done so well. I absolutely love Jimmy Olsen. And Lois Lane is a character you can't skimp on the casting of Lois Lane. You can't phone it in. You can't be like, oh, well, it's a Superman movie. No, Lois Lane is the most integral character to telling a compelling Clark Kent story, a compelling Superman story.
Let's do it, Cronkite.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
And Amy Adams did fine in Man of Steel. She did great. I had no issues with her performance, but I'm blanking on her name. The actress who played Lois Lane this time around killed it. Now, we didn't get a ton of time with Lois Lane and Clark Kent, but the time we did get, the scenes where these two characters are interacting, they were so well done. You can feel the chemistry dripping off of these two. They work extremely well together, and not just the Lois and Clark dynamic. The Lois and Jimmy Olsen dynamic was great too. It was really, really well done. You felt like they were friends. James Gunn really understands dialogue. He knows how to have, how friends talk. It's not the overdone phrases. It's not the corny phoned in dialogue before an action scene. Every scene in this movie does what it hopes to accomplish. There's Metamorpho, great casting. Very few characters in this movie don't hit the mark for me. If I were to say, I'd say Engineer and Hawk Girl, or Hawk Woman. They weren't really that impressive, but it's like every character in the movie that took up space in this film had something to say, there's bound to be a couple that were like, oh, okay, they, But as for the antagonist, Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult is this guy is verging on Joffrey level, right? Like, he is the most rage baiting, maniacal, envious, spiteful little shit ever. You can't say that Lex Luthor is unrealistic, because there are people like that in our world who are there are people like that are even worse than Lex Luthor, that are even more obvious than Lex Luthor. Now, all that is to say, I do have some qualms with the film. There's a reveal about a third of the way through the movie that is a departure from the comics. I liked the departure. I like what they did with the Superman lore a ton, but the mass appeal response to that change in the Superman lore was a little bit unrealistic to me, or at least I'm liking to I'll talk about it more in my spoilery discussion, but at least I'd hope humanity is better than that, But yeah, I think that this is an amazing start for the DCU. I give it a 9 out of 10, verging on 10 out of 10. Like, it's got flaws, but I'm damn near close to giving it a 10 out of 10 despite its flaws. But right now, we'll see how I sit on it. I just finished it a couple hours ago. I'm giving it a solid 9. I'll go a 9.25. I don't know why that arbitrary number, 9.25. So yeah, it very much impressed me. I've always been a James Gunn lover. I loved the Suicide Squad. I loved Peacemaker. I went into Peacemaker thinking I would hate it, and I really enjoyed it. And I love all 3 Guardians movies, even 2. James Gunn is not a taste that fits everyone, but man, does he fit me. And then I see the direction he's going with DC. He's doing a movie of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which is, there's a little bit of build up to that in this one, but not in an MCU way. It doesn't feel like, oh, we're setting up Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, but there's a little nod towards it. And with the amount of respect James Gunn has been showing Tom King, it only makes me more hopeful for the future of DC. So don't be afraid to go out and see this movie. This movie needs our support. It has a powerful message to say. It is full of characters that have a lot of thought behind them, both from the writing department and the directing department, but also from the talent that is acting out these characters. It is a truly remarkable movie, and we need to show Warner Brothers that this is the type of content we want. At least that's my opinion. If you don't agree, tell me why, your opinion differs. I'm pretty strong that I'm going to continue to tout the praises of Superman. I already plan on re-seeing it with my girlfriend. I really loved it, and Superman is not one of my favorite characters in the DC mythos, but this movie changes that. This movie makes me want to sit down and read Superman comics right now. That's how powerful this film was. And there's a scene at the end of the movie that I got teary-eyed, and it was not a sad scene. It was a joyful scene. And that's just how well executed it was. And while I am optimistic about Marvel's new Fantastic Four movie coming out, and while Thunderbolts I thought was solidly decent, I'm not the biggest Marvel fanboy. I did not like the DCEU. My favorite thing to come out of DC Comics in the live action department ever, still to this day, is Doom Patrol. It's on HBO Max. That was excellent. But for the most part, a lot of the DC live action stuff has been missing. All of the Marvel stuff's been missing, except for the few examples I just listed. I think Marvel is kind of pushing mediocrity. It's, it was a company that, they were fighting an uphill battle and trying to make superhero movies respected, and they did that, and they achieved that, and I'll never take that from Marvel. I think Downey did an amazing job. Jon Favreau crafted the mythos of Iron Man, and while Iron Man 2 and 3 didn't quite hit as well, I thought that was great. The whole Infinity Saga was really enjoyable, but now Superman is fighting his own battle because you have to buy back all the faith that Marvel has lost. People see a superhero movie and they're not as excited as they used to be. It's just like, oh, well, yeah, maybe I'll see it when it comes out on streaming. And this is not that type of movie. This is not a Marvel movie. I'm just going to go over some things you probably heard. It has 2 post-credit scenes. The 2 post-credit scenes are not vital pieces. They're not something that's building up to a big event movie later on. They're just fun scenes. They're comedic. They match the tone of the movie, and they're not trying to build this interconnected thing. You don't have to go back and you're watching a movie and you're confused because you didn't stay for the 3rd post-credit scene of Eternals. You're just able to enjoy the film, and if you have somewhere to be, you can go. And if you don't have somewhere to be and you're like, I kind of want to see that funny scene, let me just wait. And they're, cute little heartwarming scenes. Doesn't feel like it wasted your time to sit for the credits. You could scroll. How often do we all scroll on our phones while we're sitting places? Just scroll on your phone, read a book on your Kindle, do something until the credits are over, and then watch the scene. It's a fun scene, but you don't have to, is what I'm saying. You can go do other stuff. There's nothing building into this big, long mega event. And as much as I would love to see the James Gunn universe go on and expand and do more and more and more, I will not be destroyed if this is the only movie that ever exists, because it feels like a complete movie. Man of Steel felt like a complete movie, and I don't think Man of Steel was bad. But from then on, everything was made to build to something more, and nothing was ever good on its own. And I kind of like this James Gunn approach where we're going to tell a lot of standalone stories that may add to a bigger narrative, but the focus right now is making each movie the best it can be and not building up a giant universe that goes nowhere. So yes, I've seen some reviewers negatively review Superman and say, oh, the James Gunn humor, or, oh, it does this, it does that. I'm not saying that those reviewers are wrong. I'm just saying I don't agree. I don't agree at all. I did not get that from this film. This felt like DC coming home. This felt like a new beginning. It felt like a return to form. It was excellent. So anyway, hope you guys enjoy the movie. If you've seen it, drop down in the comments below. Let me know what you think, and I will be posting a spoilery talk in the next day or so. Peace.